Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon now, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone enjoying the festival so far? Yep, I've had good coffee. Very good coffee next door. Oh, here we are, a couple of more. Thank you. So I'm Fiona Richmond from Scotland Food and Drink. Our organisation promotes the food and drink sector in Scotland, so it's great to be here again this year to talk all things local food and drink. And I'm presuming that you're all oyster fans in the room. You must be interested in oysters. Okay, so we're in great hands. So Angus from Caledonian Oysters is going to talk us through the whole business of oyster farming. I mean, they're just wonders of nature, aren't they? And going to do some shucking and maybe get a chance to do some. Maybe the audience can shuck some oysters. I think if you want.
Small group, I thought you should come up.
We'll make it quite sort of.
We'll make it quite interactive.
Interactive, and your family's been producing oysters for a long time, about 30 years.
30. It must be about 40 now, because I'm 35. So.
Okay, right.
They must have been doing it for 40, which is imagine.
Long time. I had one of your oysters last night. It was a wild dining experience just outside Oban in Verlonan.
Oh, I went.
And the first course was your oysters with ox tongue and shallots and warm. Really? It was very, very good. Everyone loved them. So
I've never had it like that before.
Yeah, it was delicious. So anyway, over to you. Let's tell us all about your oysters.
Yeah. So, well, I thought I'd start at the very beginning, like Von Trapp's wife. So you want to. When you want to grow an oyster, how do you start, right? So what we grow is this is known as the Pacific oyster. So it's actually not something that grows naturally in the Scottish waters. So in order to grow that, we have to buy in the seed, which comes from a place down in Guernsey. They have a hatchery there. So they'll take the fully grown oysters. They usually like to try to pick ones which are quite pretty, with purple stripes on them. Those will be their breeding stock usually, to try and get as many purple stripes in an oyster as you possibly can, which, you know, people like for some reason. Anyway, they'll spawn that, and then those oysters will mix, and they'll keep the baby oysters rolling and rolling and rolling until they're about 3 or 4 months old, and then they're like this. They're tiny, tiny wee things, but they look like an oyster, tiny wee shell, everything, and that's when they come to us. And we put them in these sort of bags like this. Obviously, the wee ones go in a much smaller mesh than this, a much tighter, finer mesh. And those baby ones will sit in there, and then every so often we'll go and the sea is moving them around a little bit anyway, but we'll go and we'll shake them, and they'll grow and grow and grow. And as they grow, so after we've got the babies, maybe about 6 months later, we'll go back and we'll pull them all in, and we'll separate them all by size. And the ones that have gotten bigger will go into slightly bigger mesh. The ones that have stayed the same size will go back into a similar bag. And then they'll all go back out again. And then in another 6 months, we'll bring them in again. And that process happens 4 or 5 times before you're getting an oyster like this. So this oyster is probably 3, possibly even 5 years old before it's going to get to that stage. Constantly taking them out, shaking them, shaking them, shaking them. You know, you don't want to go out and shake them every couple months or something, because otherwise they're going to stick together. So oysters are naturally a gregarious species. So they actually meld to one another. You can see how this one has maybe I should move the screen or something. Haven't been looking at that. So yeah, can you see how this one is there's actually one oyster here, there's one oyster here, and there's an oyster here. You know, these are all separate entities, and they've joined together, and they'll make a reef in the wild. So that is actually kind of what you're trying to stop when you're farming. You want them to be all separated and, possible to put down on the table. So, yeah. So there's one of the tiny ones. That's one of the ones but that's even already a year old to get to that size. Yeah. I don't have the super, super babies. They're coming in 2 weeks, and we'll put them out on the next big tides in October. So just before we go on to opening them, I'll talk a little bit about what we do with our giant ones. Once they pass this size, it's quite hard to, fit it in your mouth, basically. So we took some of those really big ones and we've started smoking them. So we use a hot smoke with alder, a little bit of pepper and some olive oil. So I've brought some along. So I just thought maybe you just would want to try those if you're interested at all. None for you. Would you like to try one of our hot smoked oysters? Okay. There's even less people than I thought there would be, so take a couple if you like. There you are. Let's try. You were here yesterday, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you. But I don't know, did we have the hot smoked oysters out?
Thank you.
Yeah, later on.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Halfway through the day, I was like, oh, wait, I could just give these out as tasters and pretend I'm John Ogden on the pier or something. Do you want an extra? No? Would you like to try one?
So what are they eating while they're in those bags?
Yeah.
What do they eat?
Yeah, so asking what they eat while they're out in the sea. And so they just eat whatever is in the water column.
Like little plankton and...
Plankton, algae. So this year's actually been, I don't know how many of you were stuck in Oban this year, but the summer was just really kind of like this, quite grey.
Rubbish.
We didn't get a lot of light, eh? And so the oysters actually grew a lot slower because there just wasn't as much algae and stuff in the water column. But yeah, we don't feed them or anything. There's no need for a medicine or feed. They just eat what is ever in the water column. And by doing that, they're actually taking pollutants out of the water because a lot of stuff is getting washed off the hills and stuff like that. So that's all being drawn out of the water and taken in by the oysters. And don't worry, that's not going to poison you or anything, because during the summer as well, especially, we undergo a process which is called depuration. So in that process, you take your oysters and you put them in these tanks. They're about this big. You put about 800 in one of those tanks, and then you run it through with purified water that's been purified by by a UV light. So you pump up the seawater, purify it with UV, and sit them in there for 48 hours. So their entire gut is cleansed from any possible contaminants like bacteria that could have been washed off the hill. Mainly only really happens at like the height of summer. If there's a big rainstorm, then you might get a problem with that. But our water is pretty clean up here, so and it's not like we're doing it in Oban Bay. It's or Campbelltown Bay, God forbid. Everyone hears about that. So yeah, any other questions at this moment? No.
Is that particularly, our area, the West Coast, is that a particularly good place for growing them as opposed to like the East Coast? Or is there more feed and water?
So I think, so you won't really find, I don't know of any oyster farm actually on the East Coast. And as far as I'm aware, one of the big reasons for that, there's a couple, I'd say. One of the big reasons is there's not those same kind of big flat beaches, big estuarine beaches like we've got. It's a lot more of a rocky coast really, isn't it, at the east? So that's one reason, but that could be surmounted because there are beaches and stuff. But here also, you've got to remember, we've got the Gulf Stream coming right up, pulling loads of nutrients, and the oysters really like it. The North Sea, I don't think, is quite as prolific in that way. And they do like I said about the sun, that we didn't get enough, but they do quite like this wet, rainy, they just love it, I think, yeah. Yeah, so West is, once again, best. But yeah.
The Stranraer Oyster Festival, I don't know if anyone's been, that's become phenomenally successful.
Mm-hmm.
The Loch Ryan
Yeah.
oysters, and it's been really great to introduce people to the whole idea of native oysters. And
Yeah.
yes, that's become an annual event now, which is great to see people getting interested.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, Loch Ryan it's almost more of an oyster ranch, basically, because they're like, it's the wild oyster beds.
Yes.
And they directly harvest from those. Whereas these, obviously, that we farmed. We have started putting out a lot more native oysters over the past few years. We've been doing it for years, but I've kind of ramped it up a bit in the past 5 years. Of course, the great thing about the native oyster is that it will self-spawn. So as you build up the population, you'll just get more and more, hopefully. The annoying thing about it is it takes about twice as long to grow to a size that you would want to eat. And it's also affected by this disease named Bonamia, which is like this bacterial disease, which, all but wiped out there was a few contributing factors to wiping out the native oysters in the 60s, and overfishing was obviously a huge one of them. Pollutants was a huge one of them. I just heard about some agricultural engineer who dumped a load of peat in the ditches around Edinburgh that all flooded into the Firth, and the silting from that actually murdered a lot. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw it on Facebook. So
It must be
take
true
it
then,
with a
yeah.
pinch of salt on that rewilding
Yeah, I did
page.
hear about that.
Yeah, so I think there's been some things that have really disrupted. But now that a lot of people are putting out a lot more native oysters, so they will start spawning, and that's great. We find a lot of them on our trestle tables that we sit the bags on. They like to join onto the metal that we put out there.
Really?
Yeah, they just, I think because it's up,
Yeah.
and they can just sit. So as we see them spawn there, I'm quite like, if it's on the table, just leave it there. It wanted to be there, so we'll just let it be. Because it doesn't really affect us in our farming practice, because it's always going to be in a spot that doesn't matter to us on the table. So we just leave them. If they fall off, we'll take them in and we'll put them in a bag, because then they can be protected from predators. But if they're up there, they seem fine. And they're always going to be spawning. So I suppose now, unless there's another question at this moment.
Is there a minimum size that you like to produce them to before you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. The smallest ones we sell, we call them cocktail oysters. They're about 50 to 60 gram. And these are a bit larger, so about that size. And that's just for a very specific market of like people who want a very small little taste of an oyster rather than something more filling, I suppose. But yeah, there is a certain size below which you're like, well, there's not even any point in eating it. Like something like this, or especially something like this, like the amount of meat that's going to be in that, you're just like, what's even the point? Yeah. You got me? Oh. So these ones, yeah. Both of these are actually probably a year old, but that's just the difference in speed that sometimes they can grow, which is why we have to always go back and separate them out by size and then place them in separate bags as they grow. So a lot of the time you'll take your bags of babies and you'll dump them through. We use a riddler, like a potato riddler that just shakes them. Yeah. And they fall through the different sizes of holes. So about half of them, you're like, well, these didn't grow at all. Are they dead or something? But then you put them back out, and then the next year you bring them back in, and you're like, oh, half of again have grown. And you can, you just keep putting them out. And some of them grow super slow. I didn't specifically bring this as an example of that. You see how the shell on this has grown really, has ended up growing really thick. And kind of there's all sorts of like imperfections in it and stuff like that. So some oysters, they're just basically runts. They just don't grow very fast at all. But those ones are delicious. You have to wait like 7 or 8 years before they get to a size that are good. But the meat in them is the best of all. Yeah. I think it's a little bit like trees, like if you get pine or something, it's grown really fast and it's well spaced out and it's good, it's fine for if that's what you want it for. But when you compare it to oak, that's grown so much slower and just like slowly. I think that's my theory anyway, but don't really know. It's not always true. I mean, sometimes these really thick, runty ones, you open it up and you're like, it looks like a ghost in there. You're like, how is that even? It's so thin, the meat, and just nothing. So mainly with the runts, we never really sell them to the restaurant industry. We usually use those for, we haven't done it today, but events like this or weddings, stuff like that, where we are the ones opening them and we can go through them and be like, well, that one was a bit rubbish, so you just throw it away. Because you just can't guarantee the quality of them. But the good ones are great, so it's one of those kinds of situations.
And you were going to tell us about the big ones.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, yeah, so this is, and I would say this isn't even as big as it would get, this one. Like,
Gosh.
they probably would get to about this
Right.
length. They say you can count these lines at the muscle to tell how old it is, a bit like with a tree.
Yes.
I don't know how much I believe that completely, because sometimes through the year there'll be more than one growing cycle, depending on the weather. So I don't know if that's 100% true. You're really just counting growing cycles. But by that, and even by our own estimations, this pair is probably about 15 years old.
Oh, goodness.
And I think they do, I don't think they really necessarily die of old age. I think they just keep, maybe, I don't know. We don't know how old they get. But they seem to be old. We need a marine biologist to really tell us. But I think somebody pulled up a native oyster from the north of Scotland that they said was definitely at least 100 years old. So
Oh, my goodness.
they just sit
Incredible.
down there and they just
Incredible.
living their wee lives. So I guess I better do this oyster shucking demonstration as well. Yeah, sorry.
Any commercial viability for it?
Well, so that's the thing with the smoked oyster, that I'm just like, so far there hasn't really been a push for like extra large oysters, because everyone's obsessed with just eating them like like the single on a cold plate or something. But yeah, these could easily just be smoked or baked in the shell. If there was a restaurant that wanted to do that, then
Sea beef.
yeah, it is almost like that. There was a big thing a long time ago about like a steak and oyster pie was a whole thing, wasn't it?
Yep.
So these are perfect for stuff like that. I think if you're saying, oh, is there a commercial thing? If you had no oysters and you're like, oh, I've got a bit of beach though, I wouldn't try to aim for this, and be like, oh, I'll be rich in 20 years. Like I don't think it's a commercially good venture to go into. But what we've ended up in a situation is, once they get over this size, it's really hard to shift them. So those oysters are all just out there, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're just like, well, what are we going to do with them? So because we've got that, then yes, there is a commercial application, but I wouldn't say it's something you could go to the bank and be like, I'm going to do this,
No.
can I get a loan?
Yes. But they're perfectly edible.
But yeah, they're perfect. They're just as, I mean, you tasted the smoked oyster. Sometimes the muscle is a bit tougher, but really it's exactly the same meat. Because they don't really do anything. They're not working out a muscle, apart from that one thick muscle. And if you do eat that muscle that gets smoked, it's really chewy. I kind of like it, but you end up chewing it for a long time, if you are. So yeah, should we go on to the, yeah?
Just one question.
Yeah, of course, please.
I work in Alba Seafood,
Uh-huh.
and I have so many customers who come in and say, have you got a special knife for shucking?
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to that. Do you need a special knife?
Yeah, well, in a way, yes. We use these ones, which we get from France whenever I go visit my family, and we just bring like 100 of them home. But what it needs to be is like a strong blade that's not gonna bend.
Can you go behind the counter?
Yeah. See how that, I can put quite a bit of pressure, and you get to feel it in a minute anyway. In fact, I could just pass it around. So, and it's got a wee blade on one side of it, which allows you to cut the muscle. And it's got to be really strong so you can break the hinge with it. That's what's really important with it. Yeah.
Is there any issues with
Oh, is it? Okay. Oh, right, yeah.
Is there any issues with bringing 100 knives back from France?
Yeah, no, you just can't do it if you only can do it when you're bringing a bag under the plane. They don't let you just bring
Slight
them.
security problem.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, probably shouldn't be saying this in public, but that is what we do. So we sell them when we're at events like this, but it is hard to find. We've gone through a lot of different knives, and there's a lot of different designs, but we think that one is the best, and it's very cheap actually, relatively. Opinel make one that's supposed to be able to fold, and it's actually really annoying, but it's like 20 quid.
So do you actually sell them?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. But we don't have huge amounts. But if you're at Alba, maybe come talk to us. Maybe we can figure out a way to bring 200. Yeah.
So I bought a shucking knife off Amazon,
Okay.
which is quite a thicker blade.
Yeah.
Very dark blade.
Yeah. And was it black and it had that little guard as well that goes around it? Yeah, yeah, I know the one.
Well, one of the ideas is today's going to show me how to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Muscles as well, you just can't get.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that one is fine. I like that one too, but I actually really like this pointy blade. That fine point that it comes to really works well with this type of oyster. So yeah, I'm wondering how to do this. I wonder if anyone who wants to do it could just wants to come right up and just.
I think you've got your first customer
We'll do
there.
it together, yeah. So come on up and.
That's great,
I don't
yeah.
know if anyone else wants to try their hand at open oysters. Because it's such a small group. I mean, I don't really have to be
Yeah, we'll just
policing you too hard, eh?
there'll be no stopping you after this. That's it.
Yeah. So, and eat one of these if you want it.
Yeah, there's more to have. Was that right? Also, it's a
So,
little bit dangerous to me, but there's a real knack.
yeah, come in. Come into the body of the Kirk. So we also use these things, which
Yeah.
is they call them clic-huîtres. Actually, that one says Oyster tray. Someone else is doing these. Where did these ones come from? This was the original brand of them, clic-huîtres. And so that is really, I think it's not actually rubber. I think it is a plastic. And it's got this thing here, so it hooks onto the end. And these have become a lot harder to find here as well. Brexit is a pain. So anyway, so there's got a couple, and there's a couple knives.
You don't have those.
No.
But there is,
Try to do it by hand.
yeah. So if, did I not bring a? That's fine. Anyway, you can just roll up a tea towel, and that'll hold it nice and steady. Oh, I do have one. Great.
Just going to say,
I always try to wear this for the. So anyway, yeah. Look, you can see. You want it to. It's just nice to have it steady.
Yeah.
You know, because if it's on the table, it's rolling all over the place. But if it's like this, you can actually hold it really nicely and firmly. I'll do it first on one of these. But if anyone wants to try with the clic-huîtres and these knives, then they're very welcome to. So the first thing is about the anatomy of it. It's two shells, curved one and a flat one. And this is the hinge, the point that it comes to in the corner. And then there's a muscle which holds the two shells together, which is always going to be, if it's the flat facing out, it's always going to be here on the left-hand side where your heart is. I just think that's a good way to remember it. So you'll take that, and the blade is here on these knives anyway. So I always make sure that it's going to be able to come around to cut the muscle. So the first place to put it in is between the shells at the point. And at this point, you're really just pushing it in. And so it should be able to hold in there. Some of them, that one was very easy. Some of them are less easy than others. These are all quite nice ones actually for it. Let me see if I can find one that's annoying. There is another hack that I'll show you after. So look at how this one, or this one, there's that curve in the bottom of the shell. See that? And so those are annoying. But you can still find a way usually to get in there. Anyway, so there's the hinge and it's in there. And at this point, you want to twist it. I don't recommend twisting it as you go in. And what I really don't recommend is pushing down on this, because then that leverage will just snap the blade. Actually, if you turn it, you're actually getting leverage in a different direction. And that, did you hear that tiny wee pop? That is the shell separating. So now it's separate. Water is going to come out of it. But it's still being held together by this muscle. So I like to just open it up as much as I can with that and then stick my thumb there so that I'm holding that space between the two. And then the blade's here, so then I just slide it and I can feel the resistance of the muscle there. So I want to cut that. So that's it cut. And then, but it cut in the middle, right? So you need to cut it from the top because it's still clinging to the top shell. That wasn't very elegant, but there you go.
Okay.
And you want to lift it away so that you don't leave little bits of shell in there. And then that's the muscle there. It actually has two parts, an abductor and a something else ductor. And one holds it closed, one snaps it closed, and the other one is just there to hold it closed. So it's sort of a more relaxed one. Anyway. I just learned that the other day, so that's why I'm saying it.
Always learning,
yeah.
always learning.
Trying. And then you need to cut it from the base as well. And cutting the muscle, both of the cut and the muscle, you could actually use a much sharper knife if you wanted to. And to pop it, you could actually use like a flathead screwdriver that's got a nice wide head. If you don't have the appropriate tools, you can shimmy it. Because this is all about cutting. And this is all about breaking. So this knife is hybridized to do both. But if you have one of those paring knives that just like bend, it's not a good idea to just be trying to stab it because it'll just break. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, there just you go. Like it's free. No. And yeah, who wants this one? No, you? Yep. Well, you can eat the one that you open.
Does it get any resistance from the muscle, or is it quite easy to slice?
It's quite easy to slice, yeah. I mean, you'll feel it yourself in a minute. Do you want to?
I'll let someone else go, but I will have a
Well, look, there's 3 to go on. You wanted to try.
Yeah, you've definitely got to get your
And you want to try. Wait, let's not do the ones that are annoying. Let's try that one.
How much is your insurance?
I know. I don't have any insurance.
Yeah, we don't want any accidents.
This is a verbal contract that if anything happens, it's all you.
I've got my own public liability insurance, you're okay.
That's good. Here's a knife for you.
Can I just let you know if cameras are recording, so if you don't want to be seen, will you let us know?
Okay.
Right, so sharp side, you don't want to
And I would say you want to hold it like this. A lot of people and I used to get tempted to hold it like this, but can you imagine if the knife slips, it's going right into your wrist? Yeah, I think that is the way to hold it, yeah? So you're pushing it in,
It's the nerve-wracking bit when you've got that pressure and
you
you're
should...
pointing a knife towards you.
Well, do you always try and turn it so the blunt side is popping it up?
Goes against the
Yeah, yours is popped, so you can go to the muscle stage. Is yours in the...
No, mine hasn't popped.
You need to find the right... So, you see, try... If it doesn't go in straight away like that, try going up and down on different angles.
You loosen it.
But don't push and turn at the same time.
Right.
Find where... It's you're finding the gap. So you've got it, haven't you?
I've got it.
So
How do you hold it with your thumb?
I just like push my thumb in there so that it...
You've got the thumbnail advantage.
Yeah, you could use your nail even. There you go. Nice.
Right, Do you pour any of that liquid out, or is it all?
That's entirely up to you. Sometimes pouring the liquid out can actually remove.
No, I'm going to snap.
Nah, I think your knife's in there. So what you need to do now you want to twist the knife.
Okay.
Yeah. And it will pop. It's giving you can see there's tiny bits of water coming out the side. That's it trying to give. And that is beautiful.
It is, isn't it? I would have to get the hardest oyster.
You as well.
Keep going with your turn. There,
we
see?
go. Yeah.
You got it.
And now you want to lift it up with your finger a bit.
okay.
Just, and keep it separated, and then you'll come around and use the blade to cut the knife. So yeah, that's lovely. Always cutting the bottom one can be annoying, because then you sometimes end up scrambling of what was a beautiful oyster for a second. But you've managed nicely.
And here we're fighting.
Yeah. No, but you're getting there. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. It's not. It's like I'm not going to make any lewd jokes. Actually, let's just not. Do you just want to try on? There's a space here.
Not allowed to leave until you've tried.
So yeah, you're hitting the muscle there. So just keep going and let it cut that muscle. There, beautiful. And then so now you can look inside. At that stage, I always sort of like creep in to have a look.
Okay.
Yeah. And also mind that you've left a little bit of shell here that's grated. Sometimes when you're coming through here, you end up grating away at the shell. So you'll want to flick that out somehow.
Got there.
Nice. Sorry, I should be what I need more eyes. That's a beautiful one.
Done.
Yeah, and that's perfect. You just take the point of the knife like that and just flick those
Oh,
little.
isn't it just?
You've done this before, actually, haven't you?
He's a scholar.
But I love this knife. It's just so versatile.
Yeah, that's perfect. You just scrape them out like that.
There we go.
Lovely. Oh yeah, there's only one thing to do, isn't it?
So you actually chew it.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect, yeah.
Really flavour.
And then, yeah, you still need to cut that bit of muscle.
Can I do
And it is like if you try and make it so there's the blade. And I would actually say on this one, cut down, hold the blade parallel and cut down into it.
You want to go?
Angus will help you pick one. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah, you're a surgeon as well. We've got surgeons here.
Surgical
So.
skills.
Oh yeah, that's right. I know it's no
Slightly
excuse for
difficult to taking a
you.
tooth out, but similar.
It's very similar.
applications.
Did everyone got a shot? Who wants to try? Anyone want a second go? Do you want another go? No? So you do scallops and then you shuck them yourself on the ship and everything, eh?
You smoked scallops. Is that okay?
Yeah. Because I think
Have I smoked them? No, I have not. Sure, yeah. Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I love your oysters.
Thank you, yeah.
Oh,
Is it a mushroom? Is it a piece of beef? Is it from the sea? It's gourmet.
Yeah, no, it's good, eh? And so we've always struggled to find somewhere to do it. But actually now with Food from Argyll, we've been working with them because they've got a kitchen that we can use. Because before,
Different types of smoking you do? Different flavours?
no, I did do some chili flake instead of pepper, but I was just like, I just feel like pepper and fish just are like, they just make sense. And I haven't done different types because I'm just trying to get one down. And so,
The smoked ones are amazing, but you're kind of like, is this
Got it eventually.
really, yeah, you said mushroom as well. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, so obviously doing it in the first place, you've got all that HACCP and EHO and all that, but then packaging them to sell them in tins or so, that's a whole nother level that I'm just like, I've got to get to it. But I would like to.
I just don't think the market realises what a product is.
Yeah.
And so that there's no like demand for it.
Yeah, because it doesn't. Yeah, and that's what it's about. Places like this is the place to do it. Just like, have you ever heard of this? Do you want to try it?
It would be amazing if there's.
So yeah.
It'd be amazing if there's suddenly like a use with big oysters and you're like, hang on, we've got loads of them like waiting out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to create. Yeah, I know.
Is this a grading?
Yeah,
So you just put the oyster on your arm?
exactly. Yeah. So, well, this
Was
is
that one?
this is 15.
It's a very practical
So
tattoo.
that's 9. That mole right there is 9. So that's a 12
I didn't even
centimeter
think of
oyster.
That was one. I was trying to work it out, and so
Well, because actually, I used to be a geneticist in
Yeah.
maize back in California, and then and I would always go out to the field, and I'd be like trying to measure my corn, and I was like, with my ruler again, and then I was like, I'm just gonna put it on my arm, and I actually wanted it here. And I think I still might get one, but the tattoo artist was like, "No, don't do it on your hand because it'll just wash off. They rub off, don't they?" I was like, afterwards, I was like, I don't mind if it rubs off. I'll just get it reapplied. So yeah,
Cool tattoo.
but it's useful for
I
stuff
know,
like this.
it's
That it can
really
just be like,
practical.
Particularly in summer, though, maybe not winter in Scotland.
oh
I
yeah,
know.
I know, yeah, it does get rough. You got a second shot there,
Well done.
and the second one went
easier the
easier.
second time, yeah.
See, yeah,
So you think,
I don't know whether that was
part of the.
I think it was an easier oyster. It gave up.
Wow.
I was struggling.
Sometimes, yeah, but I always think if it was hard to open, that means it was really good and strong and alive, and it's better.
Yeah,
If it's
that's true.
so, that's one thing. If it's too easy to open, there might be a reason. Really be careful with those ones that just fall open.
So isn't it a different smell if one's off? Say,
You
the-
would
the-
notice the
on
smell,
this,
yeah.
Would
And
you
you
know?
open it, would you know?
You probably would, and if you put it in your mouth and it just tastes wrong,
Yeah.
just get rid of it. But usually, what will happen when they die, they will just open. So if they're gaping.
Oh, right.
And if you hit them and they don't respond,
Yeah.
if they tighten back up, it might be okay. But if you tap them and they don't close again, just throw that oyster out. Don't eat it. It's not a good idea. You don't want to end up in that situation. It's not fun.
I wrestled with a dodgy one about a month ago. It's about 2 hour late. Will it, won't it?
Yeah. If take a good shot of whiskey or vodka after, immediately, because it will kill a lot of stuff.
Excuses.
Yeah, that'll kill a lot of bacteria.
I had 17 bad oysters.
Yeah.
That's a really good.
Honest, it's not a hangover.
Yeah.
That's a really good tip.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pure alcohol, isn't it? It will kill
So
stuff.
there is something in
I've
that.
done
Yeah.
that for the start of a sore throat.
Yeah.
Just take a little bit. And
It does work, doesn't it?
works
Sometimes.
magic.
Sometimes it works, sometimes you're like, oh, well, what's the worst that can happen? You just have a shot of whiskey and then you're like, oh, well, it didn't help, but I still got it.
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Are they just? They are. I think
Good.
that's
What are the other species that are farmed around the world? So I live in Tasmania, and
Okay,
the
yeah.
oyster
Oh, wow.
fishery's big there.
Yeah.
Just down the road from my house is the hatchery.
Oh, right.
Would that be Pacific oysters there?
And I'm not sure.
Tasmania, wow.
I know that, I'm pretty sure in Australia they call them the rock oyster usually.
Rock lobster.
There's like a Sydney
Rock
rock
lobster.
oyster, isn't
It
there?
doesn't have the pincers.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Crayfish, they call them. So,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Because there is the Sydney rock oyster, but I think the Sydney rock oyster looks a lot like these, and I'm almost tempted to be like, it's the same, but they just call
Yeah,
it
they're
that.
very similar. Sorry.
But these are very different from the native oyster in that they're not even, if you're familiar with the binomial system, these are Crassostrea gigas, and the native oyster is Ostrea edulus. Like they're a whole different genus even, like cats and dogs basically.
Okay. Very, very.
Is there a difference in the taste between the two?
Definitely, yeah. The native one's a lot of a stronger taste, more of that iodine flavor. It is different. Yeah, it's noticeably different, even when it's from the same water.
Sorry, I'm excited.
No.
So you've got a fresh oyster.
Yeah.
What do you recommend eating with it?
Yeah.
I
Other
mean,
than just
I think,
You eat white wine with it.
yeah.
Lemon juice, obviously. but-
Lemon juice is great. I didn't bring this out, but I've got. If anyone wanted to try it, if you still want to open one and try it, this is her seaweed sauce across the way.
Yeah, lovely.
So that's really nice with it.
Seaweed hot sauce with.
Tabasco or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
But there's so many ways. We do the shallots and red wine vinegar. It's really nice. Baked with some parmesan and cream. It's really good.
Bacon as well.
A little bacon,
Bacon,
yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Kill style.
Yeah, is there not a classic Australian recipe as well? I can't remember what it would be.
Yeah, probably have pineapple in it.
Oh, really?
Like they do on pizza.
Oh, really? No, probably would be good, yeah.
There's some funny things over there.
I do like that. I love pineapple on random stuff. I'm a pineapple pizza kind of guy,
Oh, gosh.
actually.
So you're not too much of a purist then?
No,
Get on well
no,
over there.
no, yeah.
You could start the trend. It
Yeah.
would be called Oyster with the lot.
Oyster with the lot. Okay, yeah.
Wow, goodness.
We're onto something.
Yeah. My husband was also making oyster po' boys, so it would be like a brioche bun with salad and a couple deep fried smoked oysters. That was pretty incredible. We were going to do it here, and then we were just like, it's just so many moving parts.
Okay.
Like, got to deep fry this thing. We've got to butter the bread. It's just too many things.
That's one for another time.
Yeah. If we had a dedicated thing, yeah.
Yeah, if anyone wants to open another one and try the sauce.
Yeah,
then
you're
please-
welcome
please-
to. I
please
mean,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Use it here and use it.
Come
Why
all the way
not?
from Tasmania.
Yeah. I'll just dump this water
So
out.
great, it's about
Really tied into his Angus. Yeah.
So yeah, I've got this one. That's from an Opinel,
Oh, where am I getting into?
which they fold. So I was opening it and it wasn't locked, and so you're opening and the whole knife just folded on my hand, and that was horrendous. Hiya.
Anna,
How you doing?
the oysters. Ah,
Are you taking part in any championships recently? Are there any
No,
competitions
oh,
or-
well done.
I almost did last time we were in France, just for fun.
Very good at
Yeah, see, that's more of that.
Thin, isn't it?
That yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah, there was one in France that we almost went to, but then the car that we'd rented had a hole in the petrol tank, and when we filled it up with petrol started pouring out all over the floor. And then my mum was like, and then my sister was like, I don't want to drive this car anymore, and I was like,
So you didn't, it didn't happen?
So you're on a trip?
yeah,
No, I used to live up here.
yeah,
you?
sure.
Catching up with Dirk and
So,
friends Kaylee last night.
so there's a
Yeah.
gap between
So
these
cute-
two shells
cute excuses
here.
to be here.
So the first thing you need to do is push.
Put a couple of drops of this.
I'll do it on this one at the same time with you. The first thing you're going to do is let it be in there and just kind of push it in.
I think you can bottle it.
Do you think so?
Bottle Lock Creer and seawater
There's
as
an
a sauce.
opportunity then.
And by the way, I'm holding my hand like this, but actually that's not the best way to do it. This is the best
well
way.
Done. Here
Yeah.
we go. See? How about that?
It's really hard.
It's hard. It's
If that's not
pupil.
going in right there, try at a different point maybe. Try.
So fresh.
Yeah, that should. Yeah, actually, I think that is the best way to do it.
I thought you said if you want to vomit.
You're almost there. There. I think you're in there. Let go of the knife for a second. That might work. Okay. So what you would do next is twist the knife like this.
This is Sparta.
Once it's in there, that's when you want to.
Are you having one?
No, fine. It's all yours.
Well done. Excellent. Well done. That's great. Okay, so don't touch it for a second and turn
You
it
have it,
this
please.
Why are you
way.
not going for it?
Yeah.
And you
No,
see
I'm
there's a
fine,
blade on the knife
thank
here.
you last night.
That's what you need to cut the muscle with.
Do you like it?
So I'll just put it back how it was. You're going to want to put your thumb. I'll do it on this one actually. Yeah. You're going to twist it so it's open again, and tuck your thumb here so that you hold that space open. If you see what I mean?
Heat, but it's not that hot.
Is it not like so hard to be up by you?
No, it's not super hot, is it? Yeah, and then just sort of use that space to wiggle your knife along, because there's a muscle here that's joining the two shells together. So you have to bring it and slice that muscle.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. Do you want to use your
you're
right
doing
hand
it,
with the
yeah.
knife? Would that be easier? You might find that easier.
You feel that resistance where it's hitting the muscle there, don't you? So that's where you just kind of need to slice it.
That's it, you're getting there, you're in the right area.
Yeah.
Past it now.
Yeah, but yeah, it hasn't gone right through. So I'll just go back, put it back to here. So keep it so that that much blade is in there at least, so that it will cut that.
You could. grind them up and feed them to chickens.
You feel that resistance is?
Mm-hmm.
That's there.
Them,
Nice.
Slug protection around
So,
the garden.
and then if you look inside, you need to scrape the
You could put them
meat
in
from the
as
top.
lime to de-acidify your soil.
Interesting.
Or you
Yeah.
can be creative with them.
Or you could be
Yes, I've
creative.
got a couple of lovely.
And then the muscle's joining at the bottom as well here, see? So that needs cut from the base.
You do get used.
I think I got it.
Yeah. And then see here, I had a couple bits of shell left over, so I flick those out. You've got one there, yeah. So you get the knife under there,
Oh,
and there you go.
there you go.
And I've actually got one here too, so I flick them. You've got one little one there. Yeah, well
This is the
done.
first time you've done this. Oh.
Very good. And there you go. You can eat it now.
Yeah, I can eat it.
That's what we like to see.
Is it like a cup? Do I just drink it out?
Yeah,
Just
it'll
drink
just
it
all
up.
pour. And I would actually pour off some of that water. If you hold the meat like that, you can remove some of the water, and then see it also loses those tiny bits of shells that got caught.
That's a nice
Let me just check there. It's just, yeah, it's definitely free. Ooh. So yeah, it'll all pour into your mouth like that.
Right, okay.
And then the other thing I've been doing with the shells is just ramming one of these bags absolutely full with them, folding it, and then you've basically got a Gambian, and you just stack them, and you can, and stuff grows through it. How'd you like it? Good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Use it for wall building.
Yeah, basically been
I
building
know, it's
like walls up to
fantastic.
here, and then I weave the willow through it, and it just continues to grow and just keeps itself
Come
really
off your
firm.
hands here if you like.
And the waves hit it, they just disperse.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Just put the foot there. Thank you. Just watch.
Very cool.
that's one of my favorite ones to do. But the guys at the farm are always like, oh, do we have to stack? They hate, I don't know why they hate it so much, but they hate putting dead shells in bags. They're just like, that's so annoying. Don't like to do.
Spend their life getting
You know,
out of it, then.
yeah, you know, sometimes some jobs you're just like, I just don't want to do that. And it just turns out I like it. Because I get a new bag out of it. But they're always like, oh, I don't want to do that one. I always don't have to do it.
You need to hire some Filipinos.
Yeah, getting them over here is the... No, I've only got one guy, Michiel. He is great, but...
And where do you get the bags from? Are they manufactured in the UK? Or?
No, they're French,
Right.
again.
Let's have a bit of lemon.
Oh, sorry.
Cheers, no go for
So
it.
But,
any
um,
final oyster shucking before we wrap up? Enjoy? Yes? Good? I'll learn something. No excuse now, you've had your training. So
But,
get the knife.
It's often the way, you know. So you think about the sea fishery out of Ullapool, and those fish end up down in Spain and France within a day or two.
Yeah.
They're just shifting stuff around all the time and not self-contained in one place.
No,
Maybe
but-
that's a good thing.
I'm definitely at the point that I don't need any more bags. Like, I have so many bags
Yeah.
of different shapes, sizes,
How long will
mesh
the bag last?
size.
How many cycles will you get out of it?
Forever.
Yeah.
They rip.
Pretty strong.
They do rip.
Yeah.
And then you just fix them with cable ties.
They look quite hearty.
It's HDPE, so it's really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they break off much? Do they get
And
dusted off in the environment? Because it's increasing concern as
it is.
plastic. So
So you can see that there is wear, which does happen, and so you probably are generating some microplastic that way.
There might be a new market coming for a more sustainable bag, perhaps.
Really?
Willow-based,
Yeah.
maybe.
Something that's just
Yeah.
basically just
Yeah.
degrade over time, a little cheaper to make, perhaps. 'Cause it's a real concern now with plastic.
I would imagine it's
Absolutely.
more expensive to make, though.
Yeah.
Then,
We're going to
you
have
know.
to do these things eventually. So
These cost like 10p to make, probably less. China's now, I keep getting loads of Instagram messages from random Chinese accounts asking me if I want more bags.
yeah.
Is that right?
And I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
No.
I'm already being
Okay.
threatened to be crushed by a pile of falling bags.
Yeah.
Please.
Dear.
They'll be legit businesses as well. That's what they'll do. They're
It's just constant. Yeah, we don't really go through them in a sense.
No.
We just keep using them. We reuse them. They never. The only time I throw them out is actually at this point, because I have so many. If I get a slit in one of them, I don't even fix it. I just bundle it up and I use it as a wall. So I've got walls of just empty bags that just are protecting me from the sea right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still got plenty of life in them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
So
That was. I hope
totally-
you all enjoyed that. It's,
Totally come and get some
yeah.
smoked oyster salad if you want. We've got that and chowder and more fresh oysters.
Yeah,
And-
so
sorry,
you can if you want to have a more chat with Angus and learn more, just
I'll
nip
still
through
be
to
here.
the stand next door. But thank you so much for all your brilliant knowledge and
Thank you for hosting again.
and thank you all for taking part. It's great. Thank you.